Hi guys, this is Fazan and welcome to today's session on Introduction to C. Before we start, can you guys quickly confirm in the chat if I'm audible or not? Is everything okay? Can you see the screen and can you see the pointer that is over here? If yes, then quickly write in the chat. And in the meanwhile, let me give you a quick tour of how our academy looks like. So, so when you type in Great Learning Academy, right? The first link that you will get, please click on it, then it will redirect you to this page, okay, wherein you get all the free courses, all the live sessions, all the PG courses that we have. All of those things will be there, okay. So if you just scroll down, if you look at, there is a career path option, and if you're looking explicitly in IT and software developer career path is also there, okay. And if you're looking to transform into any of our PG courses, we have available in cyber. So we have courses available in cybersecurity, data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence, management, software development. If you are looking for software development, we have a MCA degree program, we have a PG program that is with IIITH Hyderabad, right, and also with IIT Madras, okay. So when you just scroll down, you see all of these courses that are all the popular courses that are absolutely free. And if you're looking explicitly in IT and software domain, we have courses available in data structures, algorithms, Java programming. All of these courses are absolutely free. And okay, great. So all of these courses are absolutely free, and if you want to get the completion certificate, you just need to answer 6 questions at the end correctly out of 10, which is basically a quiz. Okay. So if you're looking for Hindi courses, we have courses available in Hindi as well. Okay. And if you just scroll down, we have all the live sessions that are going to be. You see, Career in Gaming in 2021 is on Saturday. On today itself at 4 p.m. we have Google collab for Python, how to use that, okay. So you can check all these courses. We have sessions on Saturdays and Sundays as well, okay. Cool. So now let's get started. Let's see what are the things that we are going to cover in this session. So first we are going to talk about introduction, wherein we will be talking about in what is C and all those things, okay. Then the syntax of C, why now in this introduction I will also tell you why it is known as the mother of all programming languages, okay. So if you then we will talk about comments, tokens, variables, then user input and output, very important, data types, absolutely. And then operators, math function, boolean, what is this boolean, conditional statements, switch cases, loops, arrays, and finally we'll conclude our session with functions. So it is going to be a 1 hour session, so please stay focused for just 1 hour, and then maybe you implementation, all those things you can implement once the session is over. And also you can always come back to the session as it will be available on our YouTube channel, okay. If you have subscribed, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe our channel, okay. Cool. So now it was developed by Dennis Ritchie, okay, and it's a robust low level programming language. What do you mean by a low level language programming language? Can anyone tell me? Nandi, Danish, uh, Code Shop, Vivek, Kashyap, Karan. Can anyone tell me what is this low level programming means? What does this mean? Anyone? It can just guess also. What does it mean? Quickly, guys. Any one of you. Let's try to make this session as what do you say, as interactive as we can. Okay. Quickly, can anyone tell me what is this low level programming language? So basically, before a high level before a low level programming language, there was something that was known as high level programming language, which was written in zeros and ones. So there were only zeros and ones, and it was very difficult, right, to remember those things. Then came the world wherein we were dealing with assembly language, right, and we all know how to write anything, right. If we have to add, we use that symbol add, to multiply, use mul, right. Yeah, machine level language, right. So that was there. Then came the era wherein we thought, okay, let's make it simpler for the end user, that is we, for us, let's try to make it as simpler as we can. So we turned on to machine, or we can say that low level programming language. It is very robust, right, and it's a procedural oriented, or you can say procedural language which follows a structure. So what structure does it follow? So it follows a top-down approach. So basically, it will start executing line by line, one by one. If there are functions, it will jump to that function and start line by line execution, then come back. Okay, and it supports various operating systems and hardware platforms. So it is supported by all those things. So if you're looking for a compiler, many compiler are available for executing programs written in C. So you have code blocks, you have Dave C++, wherein you can also write C program. You have Turbo C. All of these are compilers wherein you can compile your code. Okay. Now, whenever you are trying to write a program, there are two steps involved in it. What are those two steps? First step is the compilation, and second is the linking. Now, this linking is basically when you compile your program, there are a lot of holes. So those holes are what? Let's suppose you are using any library, right? And in that library you are using some printf, scanf statements, right? And in like we do, right? Hash include conio, hash include studio. So all of these things, there are holes when you try to compile it, and those holes are filled with the help of this linking. So it is not an executable file that you will get. So basically it is you can say that it is your executable file, that is your when you compile your program, right? But there are a lot of holes, and those holes are filled with the help of this linking process. Okay, is this clear? Then let's talk about the syntax. So the first thing that you should know, that these files, right? So this is a preprocessor directive. Whenever you're trying to include anything, right, it can be macro. So let's suppose, what is a macro? Macro is nothing that instead of always writing r is equivalent to 9, you define that row is equivalent to 9, and whenever you want to use that row anywhere, so this r, you don't have to update everywhere, you just have to update here. Next time the rows were 10. So macros are there. We will talk about them maybe in the next few sessions, but in this session, so you have to understand. So these are preprocessor directives, and these are executed first. So this is the first statement that will be executed. And what does this studio and conio does, I will tell you in a bit. Okay, so then after, you have your main function, also known as the driver function. This is where your execution begins. Okay, it is very important. This is the compiler will look for this main method, and the void, that is nothing but a return type. Okay, so I will try to brief you all the things. Okay, so if you see this printf statement, and in this we are just printing hello world. So have you defined this function anywhere? No, right? So it is just to push output, right? So whatever you will get on your desktop screen, okay, or you want to, or you can say that console, whatever you want to get, so you can write it with the help of this printf function. So it will be printed on your screen, hello world. And if you want to use it to input some values, at that time you will use scanf. Okay, okay. So there, Ramya, there is already a course on our Great Learning Academy as well as on our YouTube channel. Okay, so you can check it one session once the session is over. Okay, cool. So now, have you defined anywhere it? No. So this is the standard. Now what are these? This is nothing but the standard input and output functions. All the input output functions are present in this, including scanf and printf. Okay, so if you don't write this conio in over here, it will also work. So this is something else. Okay, now what happens? What is this get? Can anyone tell me what is this get? Can you explain hash? Hash is a preprocessor directive. Okay, Vivek, so can anyone tell me quickly what is this getch function does? Quickly, guys. So get is a method. Basically, it pauses the output console, okay, until any key is pressed. So basically, it will hold your screen, and it will hold your screen. It will print hello world on that screen, and whenever, unless and until you don't press any key, okay, it will not get back to the program. Okay, it will not get out of that console. Okay, so basically any key can be entered, characters can be entered, and it will be immediately returned without waiting for the enter key. Okay, okay, whenever you press that key, it will just return. Okay, it is used to pause the screen, that's it. Okay, okay, guys. Okay, okay, hold the screen. Yes, 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 please start the session on Java for beginners. Already there are sessions, there are courses available on our Great Learning Academy as well as on our YouTube channel. Guys, you need to check that. Okay, remove previous output. Okay, can we write float or other data types in the main function? In the main function, you mean in your driver function, right, Naveen? No, no, write code shop, right? Quickly, can you just quickly confirm? Are you saying that if you want to return any other? Yes, you can. It means that if you are trying to return anything, then you have to write a return statement over here. Okay, then you have to write a return statement over here. So you don't need that. In that case, you don't need catch. So you write a return 0, or in that case, whenever you are returning something, you write int. But it's not recommended. What does this mean? This What does this return 0 mean? This means that nothing. This means this has the same significance of specifying that everything whatever you wrote in this driver function is executing perfectly fine. Okay, cool. So this is the general syntax of C. Now let's move ahead. So first thing that you should know or you should understand in C is how you write comments. Now these are the lines that are ignored by the compiler. So whenever you're writing anything, it is ignored by the. So please start a live session on Java for beginners. Sure, sure, sure. Okay, cool. How many days does it take to complete the C course? Nikhil says. Nikhil, it depends on how much you are. Let's suppose you are investing 5 hours in a day, then a month or so will be good enough. Okay, so it is including your implementation. You're trying to implement data structures as well. Okay, so including data structures, a month will be good. Okay, and you must be investing 5 hours daily. That means including Saturdays and Sundays. Okay, so let's suppose 5 into your 30 days, that means 150 hours is enough. Okay, okay, cool. So now yeah, so now these are the lines that are ignored by the comment by the compiler. So now what is the significance of these comments? Basically, whenever you're sharing your code, now let's suppose you're sharing Aditya is sharing with Nandi. They are sharing code with each other, and now Nandi has written a function and he named this function as fun. Now what he does, what he did, what Aditya did, he wrote this comments over here. He wrote that this function is used to convert, let's suppose, string into, or or you can say a character array into a string. Okay, sir, is DMA important? DMA or DSA, data structures and algorithms? Pratik, DMA or DSA? Okay, so now you want to convert it. AI courses are in Hindi. Some of them are okay. Some of them are, some of them are not. Okay. So now when he wrote this thing and he commented this line. Okay. At that time, sir, C programming course is in Hindi. Can you please make it in English with certificate? Sure, Ram. Yeah, sure. We'll work on that. Okay. No worry. So why this does now why do we need this notes? Now obviously when Aditya is looking at this function, he easily understood that okay, this function is used for converting character array into a string. So now he does look at this function. Okay, he says that okay, this was not the function I was supposed to look in. I will look in a different function. Let's suppose there's another function and this function is used to add 3 numbers. So let's suppose okay, I want this function, dynamic memory allocation. Okay, yes. In this session, maybe we will cover. We'll try to cover it. If not, maybe in the next sessions we will definitely try to cover it. Okay. So now, how do you write single line comments? You use these double slashes. Okay. And for multi-line, you use this slash sign, then an asterisk sign, and then whatever you want to comment, and then again. Okay. Done. So this is how you write comments. Now, what are the tokens? Very important. Okay. Now tokens is a smallest unit, okay, in a program, and these are the supported tokens. So identifiers. Now what is an identifier? Can anyone tell me what is an identifier? Quickly guys, what is an identifier? Anyone? Now keywords we all know, right? So anything that you see in the key is a keyword, right? So void is a keyword, if, else, all of these are keywords. Now what are these keywords? Basically they have a specific purpose, they have a specific meaning associated with the C language. So these are all your keywords and you cannot use them anywhere, neither in the functions or nor in the you can use them in the function name but not in the variable name, and it depends on some of the functions. If you try to name them as the keyword, they will not work. Some will work. Okay, so now What are the constants? Constants are those values which do not change. Obviously, now let's suppose you have a value of pi and you want to put it as 3.14, so you make it as a constant because we know for sure that this will not change. Okay. And then the strings is a nothing but a sequence of characters. Operators act upon the operands and generate output. What are your operators? Addition, subtraction, division, mod, and then division, modulus, right? So all of these are your operators. Now special symbols like preprocessor directives, hash symbols that we have already seen, that will be calculated, right? So these are all the now can you anyone tell me what is the identifier? Rest of the things I have explained, what is an identifier first? Quickly, guys. So identifiers or symbols are the names you supply to a variable. So let's suppose you are saying that okay, x is equivalent to, or temp is equivalent to 5. So this is a temporary variable and this is an identifier. So these are the names or abbreviations can be the things. Okay, and these are known or any labels that you any function names, any data types or types that you use. So all of these are identifiers. Identifier names must be different in spelling and the case from any keywords. Okay, you cannot use these keywords in C. Okay, so whatever are the keywords, you cannot use them as an identifier. Okay, so that includes functions as well. Okay, is this thing clear? You cannot use any of the keywords as your data type or as your identifier. Okay, user defined values. Yes, yes, Aditya, identifier is a symbol. Okay, cool. So now, can anyone tell me? Some of the students said that what is this hash, right? So can anyone tell me what is this hash? The preprocessor directive in C. Quickly, guys. Quickly, guys. So what is the significance of these preprocessor? We have different types of no, these hash symbols or hash. Then we have a define. It is a substitute of preprocessor macro which is used. Okay, so hash include to insert any header files or any other different libraries. Hash defined, hash undefined, hash if defined, if undefined. So all of these, hash if, hash else, so all of these are preprocessor directives. And what do you mean by a preprocessor directive? It is not a part of the compiler. Okay, so whenever you compile your program, it is not part of that, but a separate step in compilation process. Okay, it's a separate step in compilation process, right? When C processor is you can say that okay, it's just a text. Okay, and it instructs the compiler to do the required pre-processing. Before you process your things, before you go into the actual compilation, please do these things. Okay, if you have a hash symbol that is used to include files, please include those files first. Okay, so all of these things are done before your actual compilation. Okay, so this is the requirement. Okay, is this thing clear, guys? Just quickly confirm. Guys, is this thing clear? Just write a quick yes in the chat. Quickly, guys. Now let's move on to the next. Okay, great. Now, what are the variables? Now, this is the most important thing. What is a variable? So variable is nothing but a memory reference. Okay, great. So it is a memory reference. So now let's suppose I told Ritesh, okay, Ritesh, in your memory, let's suppose this is the hexadecimal number. For simplicity, I am using this 100. I told Ritesh, can you tell me what is the value on this at this 100th location? Whatever is written over here at this 100 address, it is a hexadecimal. For my simplicity, I am using for my simplicity. Please tell once again. So what Geet, what do you want me to repeat? So what happens? I told Ritesh that please tell me what is the value that is stored at this location. Okay, so what he does, can he directly go and access the address and remember the addresses where it was stored? No. So it would be great if we have something that is referring to this position, right? So now basically this is what is known as your variable. So variable is a memory reference. So this has a reference, or this is used to refer to this memory address, which is over here. It is used to refer to those wherein, right, you can see that right here over here what is written in memory reference whose value changes during execution. So now this is a variable. Now there's a difference between a constant, if you have a constant, and a variable. So now constant is also some memory location wherein which is pointing to some that to that particular location, but that does not change, it will remain static. Okay, it does not change. But here it is a variable whose values are changing during execution, so that is why variable. Now why do we need this? Simple, it helps us to make the handling very easy, right? If you're trying to handle, or if you're trying to access this memory location, it is very easy. And if you're trying to reuse this same memory location, you can use it for different variables as well. So now let's suppose you are saying that okay, we have a y and y is equivalent to x, so y is also pointing to this. Okay, y is also pointing, having the same reference, x is also having the same reference. And now for if you want to change this value, whatever is the value in this, you can also change it, whatever is the value of, let's suppose you were storing 10 earlier, now you're storing 20, so you can also change that. So this is the significance, and this is the importance of variables, that it is used to refer to a particular memory location, which makes it easy to handle and reuse that memory location and make references values easy for us. Okay, that is the significance. Now what is the syntax, right? So first is the initialization, and then there's the declaration. Okay, so if you want to just initialize it, you can say that okay, variable, or you can say x is equivalent to 5. Now what you declare, how you declare it, you say int x. Now this is your integer variable, which, what is this? This is an x that is used. This is your integer variable, that means it can only store integer values. And now in this x you're storing 5, so 5 is the value that will be stored in this, and it will be somewhere in the memory. Okay, and this x, maybe let's suppose this x is referring to this x, so this will be used to refer to this particular memory location. So you say this is your memory location, and there you have 10, and x is used to refer to this location. Okay, it's just like a is equivalent to b. Yes, 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 right? So now this is your assignment. Okay, or you can say the how you define your variables. So now you see we have this two variables over here. One is int a equal to 10, and int that is, then there is double b equal to 20. So these are the values, 10 and 20 are the values, and these int and double are your data types. We will cover data types very soon in this session itself, so don't worry about for now. So double is a variable which stored, so let's suppose this is an integer values, you can only store, that means if there is any decimal part, that will be truncated in integer, but in this you will have also fractions. Okay, so now let's suppose we have this program, and in this we are returning 0, and that's why we have int main over here. Then we have these preprocessor directory files, and we have int a equal to 10 and b equal to 20. Then what we are doing, we are printing, what we are saying, print a, that is 10 plus 20.0 is equivalent to, that is your long float. Okay, so now what will be the value over here? What will be the output, guys? Quickly just write it in the chat. What will be the output? So 10 plus 20, what will be the output? Quickly, guys. Anyone? Even if you're wrong, guys, it's okay. We are just trying to learn here. Yes, Aditya, correct. Nandi says, what is the difference between int and double? So yeah, no, Ridesh, it will be 30.0. Okay, so yes, correct. Yes, oh, great. So now what is happening over here? So some of you told what is the difference between a double and a double and an integer. So double will store, and if you talk about C, so if integer is having, okay, let me cover data types and then I will explain this. What is the difference? Okay, at that time it will be much clearer. Okay, So now this is how you declare your variables. Okay, so now let's talk about first the input and output functions. So obviously now we know what is a printf. It is used to print something on your console, and scanf is asking the user to enter some value. So instead of using a equal to 10 and b equal to 20.0, you ask the user to insert some value. So at that time you will use scanf. Similarly, get char and put char are, you are using the same thing, but at this time you are just getting one character. Okay, and you're putting that one character. Okay, and in this get s and put s, you are using a string. Okay, so now if you talk about format specifiers, right? So %d is used as a format specifier to identify that this is an integer. Similarly, floating point we have %f, and for character we have %c, for string we have %s. Okay, so these are all your format specifiers. So we have written these things, right? So let's suppose you wrote printf %d. What does this mean? This is a format specifier, right? And it says that, okay, whatever is this value, this is an integer value, because we know %d is used for integers. Okay, now let's talk about data types. So now we in C we have three different types of data types. One is the primitive, that is inbuilt, or you can say these are already defined in your by C. Then you have derived. So these are also derived. Derived means that these are derived from the inbuilt. So basically array of integers. So int is already been defined. It's a predefined, right? It's a primitive data type. Then these are your derived data types. Similarly, you have references and pointers. So in your primitive data types, you have boolean. So you, in order to define a bool, you just write bool, and that's it. Okay, for character you write char, for floating point you write float. Okay, so similarly for double you write doubl. Okay, so these are all your floating points. So similarly you have integer as well. Okay, so you have then void as well. So now there is something that is known as user defined data types. So these are your structures, unions, enums. Okay, so what is the structure? So basically here in any of these, if you're trying to store integer, you can only store integer values. But if you have a structure in which you have defined an integer, if in that structure you have two data members, or you can say two members, one is an integer, one is a float, so you can store two different types of data types in that structure. So that is your own user defined structure. So let's suppose you want to store you want to create a variable which will store the name of the student, the roll number of the student, and the what do you say, the fees of the particular student. So all of these are different types of variables, right? Or different data, have different data types. One is an integer, which is roll number. One is a character array. Okay, that is your name. One is your salary, which is a double, or you can say which is of type double, right? So all of these different data types, you define this data type, and then you will use this structure to define them. Okay, so you will write struct something like that and define your data members. Okay, so this is very these are the three basic data types in C. So what are those? Primitive, which is already defined; derived, which you derived on your own, but they are derived from your primitive data types only. And then you have your user defined, in which you can define different. That means this is all of these are homogeneous. That means same type of data can be stored. This is not a homogeneous. This is a heterogeneous thing. Okay, you can store different. You can be you can say that, okay, also you can store the same type of data types as well. Okay, done. So now let's talk about operators. So very important. So you have arithmetic operators. So now first you have unary, right, operators. That means there is only a single operand. There's only a single operand, and in that you will have pre and post. So what do you mean by this thing? Plus a, and a is equivalent to 10. What does this mean? This means a is equivalent to a plus b, right? So similarly, if you have minus b, or minus a, that means you are decrementing it, and then the value will be 9. So now before we move on to the next operator, so there's a difference between pre and, that means pre increment, and post increment. So pre means increment the value first, and post means increment the value at the end. So what will be the value? What's the difference between a float and double? Vaishnavi, I have already discussed this. Okay, so what is the difference between a float and a double? So basically your float has only 4 bytes and your double has 8 bytes. What is an enum? Is an enumerated data type. Let's suppose you want to you want to store Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all of these 7 days in you want to use those. So instead of using them 1 2 3 4 like this, or what do you say, instead of writing, okay, if the number, if the character array contains Sunday, if the character array contains Monday, you can use an enumerated data type. That means you create this data type, and inside this you will store all of these days, right? Monday, Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and Sunday. Then you will use that enumerated data type. So all of these what do you say, all of these days will be represented by a zero. Okay, if you say zero, that it means Monday. If you say one, then it means Tuesday, similarly, and so on. To if you say six, it means Saturday or Sunday, right? So what is a byte? So byte is nothing but 8 bits. Okay, 8 bits of data. That means all of these bits can store 0 or 1. So a bit is nothing but it is a representation which is used, that how many bytes or how many bits does this particular variable take. Okay, is this thing clear, guys? So if you talk about size of int in C, what is the size, how many byte does it take? So if you're talking about int, it will take, if it is a 30, now in C, that is not in the case of for other languages. In C, if it is a what do you say, if it is a 64-bit operating system that you are using, then at that time your integer size will change. If it is a 32-bit, then you will use 4 bytes for integer. And similarly, if it is a let's talk about 32-bit operating system. Okay, for 32-bit operating system, the character will take 1 byte, and it will take the same for 64-bit as well. If there's one more data type, that is short, right, which takes 2 bytes, which is basically the variant of int. Okay, int takes 4 bytes, then short int take 2 bytes. Okay, for 32-bit operating system. For 64, it will also take 2 bytes, and this will also take 4 bytes. But if you talk about long, another variant, okay, so it will take 4 bytes, and in this it will take 8 bytes in 64-bit operating system. Okay, is this thing clear, guys? Is this thing clear? Quickly confirm in the chat. Similarly, you have double. Right now, double has also 3 variants, right? One is float, which will take 4 bytes. Double, it will take 8 bytes. And long double, it will take 16 bytes for 32-bit operating system. And for 64 operating system, 64-bit operating system, it will be the same. Okay, these terms will also be same. Okay, so we have 4 bytes here, 8 bytes here, and 16 bytes here. Okay, great. So now let's continue. Now let's talk about this preprocessor and this. So let's suppose I told you printf, what will be the output here? A is equivalent to 10, right? So let me just write it again. So preprocessor means add first, then assign. Pre, this means pre, and post means assign first, then increment. Okay, then increment. Is this thing clear? Assign first, then increment. Now, if I'm saying this thing, then what does it mean? If I'm saying int a is equivalent to 10, and I'm using this thing, so write printf %d plus plus a, printf %d, or let's it's supposed to increment, so %d a plus, okay, just a minute, this is plus plus a, and this is this thing plus plus a, then a plus plus, then printf %d a. What will be the output, guys? Quickly, what will be the output here? Quickly guys, what will be the output here? So 11, 10, 10. Okay, okay, Neeraj says 11, 10, 10. 11, 10, and 10. Okay, so 11, 11, 10. Okay, okay, okay. So now guys, output will be, now let's try to do a dry run. So this is a pre-increment, that means first increment, that means first increment, so this will be 11 and then assign it to a, so the output will be 11 over here. This is post increment, so assign first, that means 11 will be assigned, then later on it will be 12. So here output will be 11 and now in the next step it will be 12. So when you are printing out a here, it will be here, it will be 12. Okay, so the output is, this is your output. Okay, is anyone correct? Okay, Sujoy is correct. mm, Alam Ansari says 11 and 12. Alam, there are three outputs. You need to recheck. Okay, rest of you say 10, 11, 11. Okay, 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 okay. Is this thing clear, guys? Is this thing clear? Just quickly write a yes in the chat. Okay. Tanuja, no, 11, 12, 10 is not correct. Okay. 11, 11 and 12. Okay. Okay, great. So now this is your arithmetic operator, but this is a unary operator. That means it will have only single operand. So this a is an operand. Okay. Now when you're using a plus b, when you have two operands, at that time this is known as a binary operators. Okay. And in this we have addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and mod. Okay. Cool. Then we have relational operators, which is used to just to if you have to if you have to do the comparison. So let's suppose if a is greater than b and b is greater than c, that means that a is the greatest, right? So whenever you want to do that, those comparison between the two operands, at that time you will use these relational operators: greater than, less than, or equal to, equal to. All of these are known as relational operators. Now then comes the logical operator. Now let's suppose I told you a should be greater than 8, but also a should be less than 10. Okay, so a should be greater than or equal to 8 and it should be less than or equal to 10. So at that time you will use these logical operators because it helps us to combine two conditions, and those condition depends on whatever is the need. So if you want both of them to be true, you will use an and. If you want them one of them to be true, one of them to be one of the conditions to be true, at that time you will use or. And if you want the vice versa thing, let's suppose if a is not equal to b, or if you say if a is not equal to, if a is not equal to b, at that time you will use this not operator. So you understand now what are these logical operators. Okay, okay, is this thing clear? So whenever you are trying to sir, once again a plus 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 a plus plus and working. Okay, so uh, how does a plus plus work? So a plus plus is nothing but it is post increment. That means its increment will be posted, that means it will be postponed, you can say. Okay, so now what happens in this is, in this we first assign the value, whatever is the value of a. So let's suppose value of a is 10, so it will remain 10, and in the next step it will be 11. Not at this step, because in this we first assign the value and then increment it. Okay, but if this is the case, plus plus a, we first increment it. If a is equal to 10, and that time it will be 11 first and then assign to a, and in this value will be 11. Okay, okay guys, is this thing clear? Pre-increment and post-increment. And similarly it goes the same for decrement as well. Okay, Okay, cool. Okay, great. So now logical operator. Now bitwise operator. Whenever you are dealing with competitive programming or you have any, you are participating in any coding competitions. At that time, this operator, bitwise operator, is very important. Now it works on bits. Now whenever something is working on bits, you can be rest assured that it will be faster. Okay, now in competitive programming everything revolves around this faster thing, right? So depending upon how fast your algorithm works, the more chances is that it will be submitted. Okay, okay, so now bitwise operator works on bits. So now let's suppose I told you, uh, you have elements, right? One, then you have two, you have the all of these are your elements, and I told you, can you please tell me out of these elements, right, out of these elements, which is the one that is not repeated? So this is a simple question, right? Simple question that I told you. Out of these operators, right, out of these numbers, 1 1 2 2 and 3, I want you to give me an number which is not repeated, and rest of the numbers are repeated always, except the one, and all of the other numbers are repeated twice, rest are not repeated. Okay, so now if you think of this example, and you can easily say that, okay, we can use this XOR operator. Now what is the property of this XOR operator? So basically it will, if both the outputs are different, so let's suppose if you have 1 and 0, in that case its result will be 1, and if you have 0 0 or 1 1, if the same, if you have same bits, right? Yes, if you have same bits at that time, it will give you an output as 0. So if you draw the truth table of this thing, XOR operator, so now let's suppose you have this operator XOR, and you have A and B, right? If you have this A and B, you have 0 0 0 1 1 0 and 1 1, right? So what will be the output here? Same bits, XOR will be 0. Different bits, XOR will be 1. Different bits, XOR will be 1. Same bits, XOR will be 1. So I can easily depict from this property, and there's also one more property that is associated with XOR. One, if you if you do the XOR of same numbers, then it will be 0. Now we know why, right? So that means if you do a XOR operator of same numbers, that means if you are doing 2 XOR 2, what will be the output? It will be 0. And if you are doing 2 XOR 0, it will be always 2, right? Because both of them are different, right? And since it's the 0, so output will be 2. Okay, so now I can use the same property if I'm doing an XOR operator of all these numbers, no matter what the no matter what the order is. Okay, no matter what the order is, I will get easily, if I'm doing XOR of all these operators, I will get number 3 easily, because I just use the properties that I did, right? So this is the reason why this is bitwise operators is mostly used whenever you are dealing with competitive programming. Okay, okay. So now what let's go back to bitwise operators. So now you have different types of bitwise operators. You have bitwise AND, which means if both the bits are 1, only then it will give you 1 bitwise. So now what do you mean by bitwise? So let's suppose you have a decimal number 10, right? Internally it will be it will be changed into binary. It's binary. And what is the binary of 10? So it will be 1 2 4 8. So this is the binary of 10, 1 0 1 0, right? This is the binary of 10. So now if I'm doing any operation, now if I'm checking which is the least significant bit, okay, so I will explain once this is over. Okay, I will explain that music data. Okay, okay. So now what I'm saying, that whatever is the, this is the, okay, so what I'll say, okay, sir, logical operators, okay, okay, no problem, no, I will repeat. Okay, so now what I'm saying, that whenever you are dealing with this bitwise operator, it always deals with the bits and the value of those bits. So you can also add, you can also subtract, you can also multiply, etc., and perform at each level. You can perform these operations, right? You can perform bitwise operators, and you can perform with it with the same. So now let's suppose you want to, if I'm doing a shift, right? So let's suppose if I'm doing a right shift or a left shift, right? Again, this is a This operation works on the bits because I'm shifting these bits. So if I'm saying right shift, that means I'm shifting this right. If I'm shifting right by one digit, okay, one bit. So it will be, number will be 101. So from 10 it will be directly to 1245. The number is reduced to half, so it means that I'm dividing this number by 2. Okay, basically 2 raised power 1. Okay, if I'm doing it, if I want to divide this number by 4 times, I will say 2 raised power 2, right? If I'm that how would I perform that operation? I will divide, or I will say that, okay, I will shift these numbers, this number that is 10, by 2 bits on the right hand side, right shift. Okay, so now what happens? 2 raised power 2 is 4, so it will be something like this: 10 divided by 4. Okay, so I can perform division, I can perform multiplication, I can perform, and all of those operations will be on bit level, and thus they will be faster. Now similarly we have assignment operators. So basically plus equal to, multiply equal to, so basically it means A is equivalent to A into B. When this is the case, you can also write it A multiply equal to B. So this is just a shorthand notation. So all of these are assignment operators. Okay, so now if I go back to this logical operator, so basically logical operator is nothing but whenever you want to combine two conditions, at that time you will use the logical operator, and it will always return a boolean value. So let's suppose if this is, or if we can say that if A is greater than B, it will say either true or false. Similarly, and then you are clubbing them with the help of AND operator. You want to check, okay, is this condition true, and then check if this condition is true. So if this condition is true, then go and check if A is less than or equal to 10. Okay, so if this is condition is true, it will either return true or false. If both these conditions are true, at that time AND will be executed. If OR is the condition that you use, then no matter what the if any of these outputs is true, then it will work. Okay, the whatever you have written in that. Okay. Okay, 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 okay. Is this thing clear now? Okay, so now let's talk about string. String is used to store the sequence of characters. Okay, whenever you have characters, you want to store them, you can use strings. Okay, so now if you perform concatenation, that means you add up, you append it. Okay, I hope this is clear now. Music. Okay, I have explained it again. Okay, is this thing clear? Logical operators. So logical operators, it will have and, it will have or, and it will have not. Okay, so these are your all logical operators. So now, okay, let me just see if rest of the guys understood the problem or not. So let's suppose if I'm saying A, if A is greater than 10, and if A is less than or equal to 20. Now the value of A is 5. Will this, if this is true or if this is false, what happens to this statement? Will it be executed always, or will we check this condition or not? Is this thing clear, guys? Am I clear? So if this condition is true, what will happen? It will go on and check this condition if it is true or false, right? But what if this condition is false? Will it go and check this? That is my question. Right, in this case we have A equal to 5 and we are checking if A is greater than or equal to 10, which is not the case. So this condition is false. Will it go on and check the second condition if it is an AND operator? Quickly, yes or no? Quickly, guys. Okay, Ritesh says yes. Okay, music. Kashyap, Sajid, any one of you? Pratik, Aishwarya, Sujoy, quickly, will this work? No, it will not work. Okay, Zero says no, it will not check as both of them must be true. Yes, okay. Some of you say yes. In false, it will not. Okay, Sujoy says false. In true it will. Yeah, I'll come back to Aishwarya. I'll come back to string. Don't worry. This is something that is related to logical operators. Okay. So in logical and, whenever this condition is true, only then we will go on and check this. If this is false, right? So this if this is false, right? It will never go and check this condition. Okay, it will never go. Now what are the questions that usually are asked based on this? So basically they will write something like this. They will write this condition as a is less than or equal to 8, and then in the end they will write printf, right? The printf statements, hello, and they will ask you what will be the output. Will it be hello? Will it be nothing? Will it be something like that? Okay, so these are the questions that are asked usually. Okay, now if it is a or operator or a logical or that you are using at that time, no matter what the output is here, okay, no matter what the output is here, if this okay, let me just put it another way. So now, so if this is a is greater than 8, and now or is the condition that I'm using, and then I'm writing printf hello. Okay, so this is the condition, and a is equal to 8. So what will be the output? And in this I'm writing world. What will be the output? Quickly, guys. What will be the output in this case? So we have, if a is greater than 8, greater than or equal to 8, or printf hello, then in the if condition, if this is true, I'm printing world. What will be the output, guys? Quickly. Pragya, Jadav, Vaishnavi. Output will be true. Okay. Value of a is, it is 8. World will be printed. Okay. Hello world. Okay. Okay. So this is what I was saying, Arti. So only world will be the answer, because if this condition is true in or, why I would go and check this? Because I know for sure that this is true, this whole statement is true. Why would I go here and check it? Okay, so that is the reason why this will never be executed. Okay, and the output will be always world. Okay, not hello world. Sujay, no, not hello world. In true, in logical or, whenever we have this condition true, we will never go and check this. Why would we do that? Because we know the output will be always true, because we are only checking for one condition, right? So the output will be world, not hello world. Okay, so this is for the same reason, guys, right? So this was true and they will not look for it. If it would have been false, right? If 8 with value of 8 would have been 5, then what will be the output? If value of this would have been, value of 8 would have been 5, at that time you will get hello world. Okay, okay, cool. So okay, so now let's try to conclude this concatenation. So basically concatenation means adding up two strings. So this is your S1 and this is your S2, and then you're adding it. Okay, so strings are used as to store the sequence of characters. So let's suppose you have a name, you have an address. So for that you can use this strings. Okay, now let's see some of the inbuilt functions that are there in this library. So this is your library, this is what you include. So you will write hash include string.h. So this is the library for importing the strings, and these are the functions that you can use. So for calculating the length, you can use strlen for calculating the length of the strings. That means number of characters in that string. Okay, For copying the string from one string to another, you will use strcpy. Okay. For concatenating two strings, you will use strcat. For comparing them, you will use strcmp. So basically you will check if a is equal to b. So these are both your strings. So for comparing them, you will use this. Okay. To convert all the lowercase letters, all the letters of your string. So let's suppose you have apple. All of these are in uppercase. If you use strlwr, that means to lowercase, it will be apple, all in lowercase. And similarly, if you're using to upper, it will go back to this form. Okay, small things. Okay, so now let's see a program. So you have this characters array which is of size 30. You have string another character array which is of size 30. Okay, so you see now we have included two header files, which is one is for using printf and scanf, and another for using string library string functions. Okay, yes, that is also there. Reverse is also there. Okay, so now what does getString get? It will give you the entire string that you are entering. So basically it is just like scanf, but in scanf, whenever you are trying the space, it will not read that thing. This will help us to read all those things. So let's suppose you're writing Fazan space, then my second name space, then my last name. If you're using scanf, it will not read the entire thing. If you're using gets, it will read the entire thing. Okay, cool. So now what we are doing, we are trying to calculate the length of the string. So let's suppose we entered Adi. Okay, so what will be the output? It will be 3. Okay, similarly in this, let's suppose we entered Pragya. So for this live session, there is no, for particularly this live session, there is no certificate, Pragya. Okay. Yes, Rahul. Yes. So we have Pragya, and what is the length of this string? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So 6. For 6. Now what we are doing, we are concatenating string 1 and string 2. So the output will be Adi and Pragya. Now what we are doing, we are comparing string 1 and string 2. So in this we will have 3 outputs. If Adi is less than string in terms of the length, so obviously this is 3 and this is 6. So the output will be a negative number. In this case, it will be a negative. If I will write Aditya, then it will be a positive number. If I'm writing Adi here and Adi here, in this case, it will be 0. Okay, so you have positive 0, you have a positive value, you can say 1, you have a negative value, you can say -1, you can have 0. Okay, when you are trying to compare it. Okay, can we use scanf %d end of s1? Yes, but it will not help. It will not. You will not be able to catch the string. Let's suppose you're writing Pratik space Chakraborty, right? So in that case, your second name will not be there in the string. Okay. Okay. So now, if you're trying to convert this into lowercase, what will be the output? It will be Adi, and to upper it will be ADI. Okay. And now you're copying the content of string S2 into string S1. So in that case, your Adi will be replaced with Pragya. Okay. So Manjushri, for this live session, there is no certificate. Okay. Yes. Yes, Rahul, you can do that as well. Okay. So why to complicate it? Instead, you can use this gets and gets, right? Get the string. Okay. So this is all about strings. Okay. So okay, guys. So I will continue in the next session if there is any. So for now, this is it from this session, guys. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this session, and I will see you in the next session. Okay. Okay, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot, guys.